What's up, everybody? It's the Bipolar Prophet, and welcome back to Old Ridge Farm in Farming Simulator 15. So, as you can see, the groundwork continues. I have Perry over here with the big case with my newish manure slurry spreader over here, putting some manure down on field 10. I did discover one problem with this thing. For some reason, I can't seem to use the disc there on the back. You see the disc on the back. It doesn't actually cultivate. I don't know what the problem with that is, but the spreader bars work fine. So I decided, you know what, I don't want to keep swapping manure barrels, so I'm going to keep this one. We'll just use the spreader bars, and I have a cultivator. So as you can see, the nutrients on this field were a little low. The end was a little low. So I decided to put some manure down on it. I have so much slurry that I decided why not use slurry. Also, to jump back in the story for a minute, you may have seen this in Reefy 1952's last Old Ridge video. He got a document delivered by messenger outlining some rules that we have to follow when it comes to the council meadows, the grass that the council owns. Now, these rules have always been in place, but for the most part, you know, some of them have not been heavily enforced. Well, the Crawford Browns are back, according to Mike. And they are on the warpath, as you would have expected, right? So I got the very same document about an hour after Mike did. I was over the house having a cup of coffee and a sandwich real quick because I'd been up early, you know, so I was a little hungry. And the messenger arrived, gave me the document, and it's a list of things, you know. And the biggest thing, the one that was actually highlighted on the document, said there can be no more splash plate spraying of any kind on any meadow owned by the council. Okay, well, you know, I kind of saw that coming, and that's been it wasn't a rule, it wasn't a law, it was more of a guideline. Obviously, you don't want to splash plate spray near houses and near water courses and things. But for meadows that aren't near any of that stuff, for meadows that have solid obstacles around them, for meadows that aren't, you know, that don't abut roads and things like that, you are always sort of left to your own good sense, right? Well, that is no longer the case. Our good sense has now been removed, and we were told that we cannot splash plate spray for any reason. Now, I know Mike was saying that he had actually been working on an injector system for his farm. I'm not going to go out and spend, I just spent $53,000 on this setup. I'm not going to go out and spend a bunch more money so that I can put an injector on this. This doesn't have a traditional 3-point on it because it's really made to use its own implements. So I'm going to go with the dribble method here that I have. This thing rides about 6 inches off the ground. It doesn't splash. It doesn't spray a lot of odor around, you know what I mean? And then if I'm careful of where I use it, I should be okay. Now, if the Crawford Browns want to take that up with me, they by all means can grant me the money to buy a proper injector. But for right now, I'm going to use this. And as I've said in the past, they can suck it. I certainly don't want to flaunt the law, and I certainly don't want to cause, you know, a bunch of odor and you know, splash over and stuff. But this system doesn't do that. That's why I switched to this system in the first place from my perfectly serviceable major manure barrel that I had before I bought this one. You know what I mean? I'm trying to follow the rules and everything. And the Crawford Browns just don't make it easy by any means. But anyway, so that's probably enough about that. If we tab around here, you'll see, once we tab around, that, let's see, Phil is somewhere. Where's Phil? Phil, where are you? There's Phil. Phil's power herring over here on field 3, getting that done, you know. Obviously, all these fields need to be, you know, broken up a little bit. They've been sitting all winter and everything. And because I'm not plowing everything like I normally do, we at least need to get the ground, you know, broken up and get the hard pack sort of softened up and everything. And it has the added benefit of getting rid of the weeds. Now, one of the other things that are probably going to have to happen on this, see, the nutrients are a little sketchy on this field in places. They're not awful, but I was thinking that maybe some manure over here may not be a bad idea too. Obviously, the soil moisture, you know, the soil moisture is low. None of these fields were irrigated last year at all, so they will be this year. You know, assuming that we don't have a whole bunch of rain in the meantime, you know, but. So, you know, obviously it's always a good idea to break up your soil a little bit, you know. We're not quite ready to plant yet. As I said in the last episode, it's still a little early for that yet. So, you know, we're right now in the process of getting the soil ready, getting it loose. I may run a cultivator over all these fields afterwards anyway, or just use a seeder and a front packer, which I do have as well. So, Of course the phone's going to ring right now, right? Of course it is. Of course it is. All right, guys, sorry, I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I had to take that phone call. And then, it's funny because for you guys, it's only going to be a second, right? Less than a second. For me, it was like a half an hour. I had to go run upstairs and help out a friend of mine. So now I forgot what I was talking about. Obviously, we have Phil over here on field 3. As I said, power harrowing the fields, breaking them up, getting them a little softer, and, having the added benefit of getting rid of the weeds. So that's a good thing. The nutrients over here aren't bad. The soil moisture is actually really good too. So, I think we'll be okay with these fields. I don't know that I want to run a bunch of steps through them. I don't know that I want to, go over this with a cultivator again afterwards. I may just seed it, with a front packer on it to get the best seed bed we can. Probably should tab around here and see how. Okay, yep, you're doing fine. I am going to have to run a cultivator over this though. Now, are you going to make it on one barrel, I hope? Because I don't have a refill course set up for you, so. Nutrients in this field look pretty good. The PK and everything look pretty good. Obviously the end was a little low in spots, so this will hopefully top that up. The lime was worked into the soil, but it's not, obviously it's still the same day, so soil mod hasn't had a chance to sort of, recalculate everything. Excuse me, I'd have a sip of my coffee. That was a hectic half an hour or so. Occasionally things like that are going to happen, right? You're going to be in the middle of something and, somebody's going to need something or whatever. And that's fine, it's all part of the business, I guess. So one thing I definitely want to do in this episode, once I determine that he's actually going to make it all the way around, I think he is. I think he should be okay. We're going to go plow fields 5 and 6 together. In fact, let's go jump into our case, our Puma. Oh, as soon as I get to it, that is. Wherever it is. Where is it? Did I go buy it already? I must have, right? Is this it right here? Nope, that's the mower. That's something in there. Where's my case? There it is. Jeez. Couldn't see because of the sheds. We'll get this fired up. One other thing, and hopefully you guys can hear this. Thanks to Carl Farrar, a member of OEB Modding, who put up a great video about how to add the handbrake sounds to drive control. So you can hear that's the release sound, right? That's the actually putting the handbrake on. And if you try to drive away, you get a warning sound. And it's really simple. It's just, adding some sound files that he provides and adding some code to the XML, to the Lua file of drive control. Now, again, I'm going to put a link to the description of that video. He made it really simple. But if you have any questions or anything like that, I would ask that you refer them to him, you know what I mean? Because he is the guy who did all this. Also, as he says several times in the video, and he's completely right to say this, if you do this modification, please don't upload it anywhere. These are, it's fine to modify stuff for your own use, you know what I mean? That's fine. There's no restrictions against that, but you shouldn't upload stuff because it's a violation of the original mod author's, intent. So it's his mod. If he wants to add this in as, a feature, then he certainly can. But for us, it's just a private mod and it's a little fun thing. It doesn't really do anything aside from add a cool sound. So I like this. It'll remind me that I have my handbrake on. So, all right. Anyway, enough of that. We've got the plow hooked up. Let's go over to field 5 and 6, and we'll get those plowed. Oh, he ran out over there, huh? Okay. I'm probably going to call that good enough anyway. That'll be all right. So we'll run over to field 5 and 6 and get those. We'll start to plow those together. I've been wanting to do this for a while now. I just, obviously can't do it during the middle of a growing season. Got to wait till the crop is out of the ground and everything. And, this is a good time to do it before we start groundwork. So, or while we're doing groundwork, I should say. These are just a little inconvenient, the shape of them. I think what I'm going to do with field 5, or the little bit of field 6 that'll be left over, I'm going to plan a test plot of sunflowers. I've been talking to Chad about some alternate crops and whatnot. And sunflowers seem like they might be a good sort of, they're sort of a break crop, you know what I mean? And they're also a cleaning crop because soybeans are pretty weed intensive. They generate a lot of, weeds like them, I guess I should say. So it might not be bad to have a crop of them in every couple of years, to sort of break the weed cycle and all that. Now, how do I want to do this? I'm pretty sure that these hedges may have to go. I'm trying to leave as many hedges as I can, for habitats and just for the legacy of the area. But sometimes you have to move them. So I think I want to go straight across here is what I want to do. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to lower the plow. We got to turn this on so I can create. Yep, there we go. Cruise control, yes. Gonna want some cruise control. I should probably have GPS for this, but you know me and GPS, right? 4 miles an hour. Let's go 4, and let's get rid of all this stuff. Don't need that now. And we will go straight across here. And this is going to take a little while. I doubt very much I finish this off screen. It takes a little while to go, to go across the field and then come back. But I just think this makes more sense to put these two fields together and then cut them apart again afterwards. So we can stop right there, lift it, turn it around, and get turned around ourselves. This is one of those things that, I'm really glad that you can do this in Farm Sim, that you can make fields and do things like that, because this is something that I've always kind of enjoyed, Oh, actually, I wanted to leave that plow going the way it is. I want to turn the dirt back into the previous furrow, so, so I'm glad you can do this, and again, this is one of those things where, are you changing the map, versus what the original creator of the map intended? Probably. But again, you're doing it for yourself, right? And you're doing it to make it easier for yourself to, to do things. In this case, I certainly I don't have any intentions of plowing, any more fields together. The rest of the fields are pretty good. These fields are just awkward, and while it may be realistic, I think there's something to be said for efficiency. I want to be as efficient as possible, on this farm. So, especially since I don't have a big workforce, as you guys know. Come harvest time, I'm always kind of scrambling for help, scrambling for, to bring people in and stuff. So, groundwork time, I can pretty much get by with the 3 of us, but let's see. Yeah, this is going to take a little while. Well, that's okay. It's part of the deal. I'm sure. Let's see. Yeah, the nutrients are a little low over here, and obviously there won't be very many in this grass bit because it's been grass for a very long time. So, I think I can go a little bit faster though, huh? So probably end up getting some manure over here, and then we'll cultivate that in. So, or I could spread slurry, because as you guys probably know with slurry mod, it doesn't matter if you put slurry down. You don't have to work it in the ground, like you do with regular manure. So, all right. Yeah, we'll go a little faster. I mean, granted, in real life, especially over this bit, where it would be really, really hard and everything, because it's, it was a road for, however many years, you'd probably go a little slower. But for the game, I think we can go a little quicker, right? Oh, probably dropped the plow a little early there, but that's okay. Yeah, I think over there on the bit of field 6 that'll be left, that little end bit over there, I'm going to put a test plot of sunflowers in, see how they grow, see how they do around here, Chad seems to think that they should do pretty well, so, it's always nice to have another crop, so. And as far as the game goes, I have added, obviously, sunflowers to the game, as a foliage sublayer, as a fill plane, added it into the economy and all of that, giving them a place to be sold, and, so... it wasn't too difficult. I followed a tutorial from FSM Modding. I pretty much knew how to add fruits to the game anyway, but I just wanted a refresher course, there's not a lot of tutorials out there for things, but the ones that are out there, by people who are, who could be bothered to help other people figure stuff out, are really good, Modding is one of those kind of things where, you're sort of torn, I think, as a mod creator between, okay, well, if I show everybody how to do this, then, nobody will download my mods or whatever, and between, well, the more people that know how to do stuff and the more people that can make stuff, for the game, the better, right? And unfortunately, learning how to mod is kind of a hit or miss process. You either make friends with somebody who knows how to mod and can kind of walk you through the process, or you do like I do and you just try stuff until you figure it out, and you break a lot of stuff along the way. That's why I always say, it's always a great idea to make as many backup copies of things as you can. I have very many backup versions of this map, so that every time I add something to it, every time I do something to the map, if it breaks it, I have a copy to go back to and still be able to play on and still be able to record and everything on. So one thing I am taking a look at is that Vertex. Is it Vertex modding or That may not be right. It may be Vertex modding, I think. The people who made the tedder and all that for the mod contest have released a version of this tractor, of the Case Puma 160, that's dynamic hose ready. They're working on their dynamic hose script. You may have seen this with on David Ofield. He's done his version of it, where you can actually attach hoses and they move and all that sort of thing. And they've released a version of this tractor that's ready for that. And I may take that, blow it apart in Giants Editor, see how it all works, look at the tedder, see how the connection points work and all that, and try to figure that out for myself too, to see if I can put hoses on all my equipment. I think that would be neat. That's a project that's going to be ongoing, obviously, because I'm okay in Giants Editor with map stuff, with triggers and things like that. Obviously adding things and adding, fruit types and all that sort of stuff. But when it comes to actually modding equipment, I get a little nervous because there's so many things. There's so many attacher joints and nodes and all this stuff, and it would be really, really easy to screw it up. So I might take a good hard look at it and see, if that's something that I can do or not. Let's see. Phil is done, and Perry needs to be refilled. Well, I think we're going to call Field 10 done. I think he was just pretty much on the last headland, so no sense in driving him all the way back, filling him back up again. And, I forgot to turn the plow, Let's at least try to do it correctly, BP, huh? Oh, obviously, you want to push the dirt back into the furrows you just created, so... This will add a little bit, probably an acre, by the time it's all done to this field. But that's not why I'm doing it. I'm really doing it just because, it'll be easier to go straight across than to try to, finagle around a corner. Not so much with the harvester, but with the implements, with the seeder, with the cultivator, with all that stuff. So, and then I'll probably cut the top end of this field off as well. And then, like I said, I'll put soybeans over there in that little bit that's left over from 6, just as a test, just to see how they grow and everything. Because although I put them in the map, I haven't actually tested them, so obviously that's something you're going to want to do. I'm missing bits. Going to have to go back in and get that. Otherwise, I'll have grass growing in my field here. Don't want that. Turn the plow, BP. That's what you do when you turn around. Geez, you'd think I'd never plowed before, huh? And I'd done a lot of plowing on this map, to be sure, so. Once this is all done, I'll go back in and get those bits that I missed. Right now, I'm just looking to get the general shape of the field done, so. Probably if I was smart, though, what I would do is I would tab back around here and see, let's see, not you. Come on. Tabbing just takes forever for some reason all of a sudden. Okay, you're done, right? You are done. You're done and folded up. Very good. We will stop you and reset you. Where do you need to go next? Well, you need to not go in the hedge is where you need to go. Realistically, you need to go over to field 5, but I'm not quite ready for that yet. So, I think what we will do is... Oh, I wanted to take care of that meadow, too. That's another council meadow over there, and I wasn't so concerned about some of the smaller ones at the beginning of the season. I wanted to get the bigger ones done and, in good shape, and then I would work on the other ones as time permitted, and that's one that I definitely want to work on. They're not very big, but when you add them all together, it'll make a fair amount of grass, and we certainly need it, so. Let's see. Where do we want to go here? We've done field 1. We've done field 3. 5 and 6 I'm kind of working on, so I don't really want him over there in the way. You know what, Phil, why don't you take a break? Go ahead and take a break for a little while, and you can come back and we'll do field 6 and 5 after we're plowed, I guess. So doesn't make any sense to do it any other way, I don't think. So. In fact, I think Phil wants to go up to the convenience store here and get himself a snack. So, don't need fuel in a tractor, so don't be spending any money. We need all the money we can get. You can just go over here and get a snack. Have a cup of coffee or whatever. Oh. Sure they won't mind if we park right in front of the door, right? Oh, there we go. Just you can hang out right there. Make sure you set the brake. Very, very cool. Okay. Yeah, see, you're sort of on the last headland, huh? Yeah, you know what? We're going to call that done, I think. That's close enough. Stop driver. Reset the course. I'll come back and we'll be cultivating that field probably in the next episode. I really want to get this done, though. So, again, this may be a little bit longer of an episode, but, you know, it's one of those things that can't really be helped, so... Because I really want to, you know, again, as you know, Martin Garner said in a, in a comment in a previous video, it's nice to get stuff done. You know, it's one thing to want to keep your videos at a, at a reasonable length, and I certainly understand that. But, you know, it's also nice to be able to actually get a project done. So. One thing that's great about real terrain is that you can almost you drop your tractor in the first furrow that you made from the last pass, you know what I mean, and you're lined up right. So that makes it a lot easier for people like me who've never plowed in real life. I've never plowed anything in real life, All the plowing I've ever done has only been in this game. So it makes it so that I could almost do it in the cab, but stuff like this, I always get nervous about, even after all the over 1,000 hours, well over, thousands of hours between this and Farming Simulator 13 that I've played, I still get nervous. I still feel like I'm missing a bunch of stuff, because you just don't have the sort of depth perception and the feel that you would have in a real tractor. So, again, you put your wheel in the furrow and you go, right? And I suppose I should probably be doing that. And spinning around to look what's going on behind me and everything. But it's a little fiddly with a mouse, so I don't need to be going quite so far into this field either. This field's obviously going to need to be cultivated and everything, so. The end's pretty good over here. I don't think I'll be messing with this field any, so. It's going to be a few days before we plant anyway. Probably, it may actually be more than a week, because it's chilly today here in Old Ridge. It's pretty cold, so, obviously don't want to plant when it's too cold, but things like wheat and, soybeans do not mind the cold so much. I don't know about sunflowers, so I know barley has a pretty narrow range of when it likes to be planted as well. So it'll be a few days. Obviously going to have potatoes and sugar beets going to the ground as well too. I do have a crop rotation that I will show you guys. I may actually post it up on Facebook, so you guys can take a look at it. It's a conglomeration of a lot of things that I found on the internet, that I've been, watching other people do and things like that. So, it's one of those, it's not particularly maybe 100% real life, but it's close enough, I think, for me. It provides a little bit of, of realism to the game, and it's fun to try to figure it out. I wish I could level this middle bit because it is definitely tore up, but okay. Maybe that'll come at some point. That'd be neat to be able to fill in holes and things, that or create holes if you really wanted to, I guess. That would be kind of a cool thing, I think. I got to say, I've thought numerous times about buying a bigger plow, but you know what? This little plow here, and it's not that little, it's a 4-bottom, it's perfect for what I need it for, and I can pull it with all of my tractors. So, normally I would plow with the big case, but that manure barrel, because it has so many hydraulic remote, needs, that I don't have enough on this one. I need to use my big case for it. So, so I kind of have to, the Puma here is sort of relegated to plowing, but it does just fine. Put enough weight on the front, it'll go right along. So. Let's see. Again, don't need to drop the plow too early because I'm only looking to pull these parts together. I'm not looking to plow the entire field, so. Yeah, that bit right there, boy, I wish I could level that off. That's going to be tricky with the harvester and with the, with maybe not so much with the seeder, but maybe the harvester. Hopefully I'm going to have to make sure I monitor the float on the head so I'm not catching the knives in the ground and breaking them off, so. Because as it is, I'm going to have to run through that this year anyway. I've had it for a couple of years now. I need to run through it, check all the knives and everything, and make sure everything's working. Chad, I had called Chad about that noise. He said, he says, I wouldn't worry too much about that. It might just be a reel, you might have a bearing on a reel or whatever. If it doesn't get worse, then, don't worry about it. That's kind of the farmer motto, right? If it doesn't get worse, then we'll just, monitor it and not worry about it. That's a big, expensive piece of equipment. And I certainly cannot afford to buy a new head for it, so. Kind of need to keep that one in good shape. So want to make sure I go through all the knives and everything and the side knives. Even though I don't think I have canola in my rotation this year. Probably next year I may slip it in somewhere. It's just not worth it to me. I don't have the acreage for it, you know. It's expensive to plant. It's expensive to maintain. You know, and the yield isn't great, so it's really not worth it for me to, you know, to put it in the ground, where I can make more money with other things. Obviously, with the crop rotation, you know, I'm not putting potatoes and sugar beets in the same field I put them in last year. That's, you know, that's very bad for the soil. You know, now in the game, does the game care? Not one bit. But, you know, again, to try to, especially, you know, with this series, to try to have as much technically, you know, realistic things going on as possible, I guess. Yeah, this will probably add about an acre to this field, I would think. By the time you get done, you know, with all the back and forth and everything. So, again, you know, not why I did it, but a little side benefit. Now, if you're thinking about doing this, and this is something that I was thinking about when I was setting this up, if you're thinking about, if you have Old Ridge, and you're thinking about doing this yourself, make sure that you have to pull this into Giants Editor, and you have to remove this road that was down the middle of it, because the road is a separate object. If you remember, it was like an old busted paved road with some tracks running down the middle of it. You'll have to go into Giants Editor and pull that out. Otherwise, you won't be able to plow over it, because it is a static object, and obviously you can't plow over static objects. So, but other than that, it's just a case of, you know, obviously driving your plow back and forth. So it's kind of fun, you know. I do like plowing. I tend to let Courseplay do it. You know, so that I can do other things. But in this case, Courseplay would certainly do it, but I'd have to set up some funky course, you know, to just make it go back and forth and everything. And to be honest, it's just easier for me to do it myself. So, you want to drop the plow? No, did I not hit V? I guess I didn't. Thought I did, but I guess I didn't. I need to remap all my buttons on my steering wheel back to the implements and everything, because for some reason I had gone through a while back and changed a bunch of stuff, and one of the things I changed is the buttons that I used to raise and lower implements with, and apparently I never bothered to remap them again. So, a couple more passes here, just kind of square this off as best we can, and then I'll go back off screen and get all the little bits that I missed, and then we'll probably, let's see, you know what, it'd probably make more sense when I cultivate this. I'll cultivate it, and then when we plant, we'll put some N and some PK down, because obviously the N in that bit is going to be very, very low, because it's never been spread or sprayed or worked, you know, at all. So, but this is one more project here on Old Ridge that I wanted to get done that's getting done, so that's good. You know, this is something I've been thinking about pretty much since I got here, pretty much since I bought these fields. So, because, you know, obviously you've seen me struggle with these fields. You know, I don't like to have to cut stuff down and move stuff and everything. You know, I don't particularly like to cut down trees because, you know, obviously the birds and, you know, all the habitat and everything. But there are times when you just have no choice, when, you know, you have to do this stuff, because if you don't, you're just going to end up spending so much more money on fuel and labor and everything to work around some of the oddness. You know, some you have to work around, some I have no problem working around. This one, I just wasn't, I wanted to fix it, so. But this will probably be it. You know, I certainly don't want to turn my part of Old Ridge here into a giant, you know, flat area. That's not what I'm looking to do by any means, so. Now, I believe this is as far as I'm going to be able to go, because I don't think I pulled the... Yeah, I think this is going to be it, because obviously that's a road right there, and that belongs to the parish, and I don't want to tear up a parish road, so I might be able to get one more pass here, I think. One more pass, because I still got a little bit of an edge here that I would like to sort of square off, but I'm not going to get to it, because obviously I cannot tear up the parish's road, so. I think this will be the last pass, I believe. Yep, that's going to be it. Okay. Again, not that bit right there is not a big deal, so I'm not worried about that at all. All right, very cool. So that is now done. Awesome. Now, let's see. Okay, so I think I think that's going to work out just fine. Now, what I am going to do is, if I was smart, I would cut this across too, right? I think that makes sense. We will cut this straight across here, straight across. I think I can cut this road. Can I cut this road? Yep, I can. Very good. All right. I own that bit, so no worries about that. And then I'll probably plant some grass up the other side. Oh, no, I had the plow going the right way to begin with, BP. Come on. Use your head, BP. Use your head. And then I'll just plant some grass to divide these fields back up again, in a more sort of logical pattern, I guess. I want to get a knob for my steering wheel. I remember James R.W. Powell, or Jim, had one on his G27 when he first got his G27. I thought it was cool. It would be neat to have for for farm sim, I think. I have to see if I can find one. I'm sure, to be honest, I probably have one kicking around somewhere in my shed, in my boxes of junk that are in my shed. So. Field 7 over there wants to be bought. I should go take a look at that, actually. I should call up the farm agent. I know I'm looking at Field 12, but to be honest, I think Field 7 might be a better purchase. Being right next to these fields, trying to keep the farm, as close to the main sort of, area as possible for right now. Just to cut down on the amount of traveling I have to do between fields. Obviously, at some point, I'd love to be able to expand all over this whole area, as long as the landowners want to sell me the land, Can certainly never have enough land as a farmer, as long as you can physically afford to work it. Right now I have just the right amount of equipment, just the right amount of help. Obviously, come harvest time, I have to bring in more people. But for day-to-day operations, I have just enough people, I really couldn't afford to pay too many more people anyway, so... But, at some point when we start to expand out, quite a bit, then I'm going to have to start looking at bringing in more people and everything, and I'm going to need the money for that. Everything's about money. If you don't have the money, then, people aren't going to work for you for free, so... and I definitely want to pay a fair wage, me and Mike have had multiple conversations about that, about, what we... Not so much what we pay our people, because that's nobody's business, but, what a fair wage is and all that, what sort of benefits to offer and stuff. Obviously in this country, health insurance is not so much of a thing. You have the National Health Service, so I don't have to pay the extra for health insurance like I would in America and all that. But you still want to, I want to, my guys take vacations and everything, so. Or holidays, as they're called over here. I'd like to take a holiday. I always say in the winter that I'm gonna take a week off, or I'm gonna take 2 weeks off, and I'm gonna go somewhere. And I never do, because I'm always so busy. I'm like, oh, it's winter, and now I have time to do all this maintenance-y stuff that I need to be done. With the sheds, with the houses, with the house, with the equipment. So, and then I'm like, oh, well, so much for your holiday, I guess. The life of a farmer. You know what? I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. This is what I want to do, and I'll do it until I am physically too old to climb in a tractor anymore. All right. I think that'll do. And probably what I'll do then is I will come across here, starting from right here, and I will grass this bit. I'll put a grass strip right down this bit down here. So that way, this field goes straight, this field goes straight. I don't lose too much of that field. Yeah, that'll work out just fine, I think. Very, very good. So, let's see. Thumbnail? Sure, we need a thumbnail, right? Always need a thumbnail. And get rid of soil mod for a minute. Goodbye, soil mod. Make a thumbnail of that. That's kind of a pretty picture, parked over the weeds. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Again, groundwork. It's ongoing. In the next episode, we'll be probably over here. either power harrowing or cultivating these fields. And then we'll be working on the rest of this stuff. Got animals to muck out, got animals to sell. So lots of stuff to do. Got some manure to move, things like that. Animals to feed, lots of things to do. Probably a week or so before we start planting, and we'll just keep rolling on here at Old Ridge. As always, let me know what you think. If you liked it, if you liked the video, make sure you click the like button. If you're new to the channel, you saw Old Ridge Farm, episode 102, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of episodes, I want to check that out, and you like what you see, make sure you click the subscribe button. It's the best way of being notified of when I make a video, which is pretty much every day, and if not every day, at least every 2 days. Also, if you're new to the channel, welcome, and thank you for coming. It means so much to me, as you guys know. Feel free to get interactive, to comment, and leave me suggestions, leave me tips, leave me ideas, post stuff on the Facebook page, hit me up on Twitter, all the links to all that stuff are in the description of every video I put up. I'll try to remember to put up a video, link to the Carl Ferrar's video on how to add the very cool handbrake sound. I love that. If I remember, hopefully I will. And anything else? Nope, I think I've said everything. And as always, guys, thanks so much for coming to the channel, for liking, for commenting, for subscribing. It means so much to me. You guys are amazing. Without you, none of this happens. And as always, thanks for making me a part of your YouTube day. And this is the Bipolar Prophet saying, see you later.